YouTube, here we go. Think about it. So today we are going to torque these AN bolts down and everything, and the way that I do it is I use one of these little torque wrenches, and the reason being these AN bolts need to be torqued down to about 2 foot-pounds. That's it. These AN3s are 2 foot-pounds. And the problem is when buying a torque wrench, most of them are 20 pounds to 50 or 10 to 50. These need to be 1.6 to 2 foot-pounds is what you torque these down to. And so they don't make them. So what you do is you get a micro torque bar, and these are for bikes, for bicycles, and everything. And it has the inch-pound scale. Well, 2 foot-pounds would be 24, right? So it's just a conversion. So you want to take this to 24 on the scale. And the way this works is as you torque it down, that top bar will stay in position, and it will torque that way, and that's how you know. So that's how you get it to 2. And you know, if you were to buy a digital one of these for micro torquing and everything, you're looking at about $200 to $300. Amazon, $20. These things work great. Like I said, look for like a bike torque wrench that has the smaller settings. But the last thing you want to do is over torque these. So today we're going to torque these down, and then after we torque them down, we're going to safety wire them. So we're going to do that as well today. So I've got some torquing to do. When I get done, I laid it flat so it'd be easier, and so we'll get them torqued down, and then we'll get the safety wire on them. All right, YouTube. So there we go. We got the safety wires installed in both. One thing I did learn, actually 2 things I did learn. Let me sit down here and kind of go through this. Number 1, I have these safety wire pliers. They're not big enough. These are the smaller ones, and I already tell you, they're just not big enough. I need to order the bigger ones because I had a hard time cutting the wire after it was laid out. That's the first thing. The second thing is that I am not impressed with the anodizing. I have anodized a lot of things in the past, and I can anodize at home in a bucket and get better results than this. This anodizing on this is super soft. So you got to be careful. There's a couple times where my needle nose pliers slipped, as you guys can see, and I literally took the anodizing right off. Not that hard. Anodizing should be as hard as diamonds. It's a molecular thing. So I'm not impressed with Vans with the anodizing of these wing kits or these wing spars. They are super soft, so just be careful. Maybe put some tape down or whatever. But you know, I guess it's just supposed to be a light coating, and it obviously is a light coating. It's not hard at all. So yeah, so that's probably it's the only bad thing I'd have to say from working on the Vans on the airplane. It's the only thing I've seen wrong so far, and it's not necessarily wrong. It's just a coating. It's no big deal, but yeah, I wish, you know, like I said, I anodize a lot, and it should be a lot harder than that, and everything. So anodizing, like I said, should be almost as strong as diamonds. So I'll just spot touch this up just to cover it up. But like I said, it's not a structural issue. It's just, I just took the anodizing off. So, all right. So now we can officially say these are done. I was, you know, I'm not an expert at safety wire by no stretch of the means. So if you want to learn how to safety wire, there's a lot of YouTube videos out there that can show you and everything as far as how to properly safety wire. Not saying this is improper. I did what I learned on the YouTube, but like I said, I'm not an expert. So you know, you can find, if you want to learn how to safety wire, you can go on to YouTube and you can find them. Find a lot of videos out there, but they're done. Everything is safety wired and in place. So here we go. Story of our life. Building. No, it's not really a story of our life. It's just the way it is. So here we have to make bigger pieces into smaller pieces. So first thing is we got to cut this angle iron, or this angle aluminum here. The second thing is we got to take these two pieces. You know, you got a right and a left, so we're gonna have two of everything, right? That's the thing, is you got to remember when you're cutting to go ahead and cut two of everything. So what we got to do is take these pieces, we got to mark them out, center lines, all of that jazz, and then we got to make a smaller piece. And then what happens is it gets mated up as basically as a bushing. I say bushing, but a filler, you know, between the parts here. So yeah, so I got to mark these out. I did buy, one of the things I will tell you is buy a box of these Sharpie click pens or whatever. Actually, I find that this is a little bit easier than the bluing. The bluing tool is the bluing that I use for metal. Works great, but the Sharpies work, I think, even better. So yeah, so get these out. Get yourself a box of these Sharpies. You're going to go through them quite a bit. They do dry out and everything. So all right, so I got to measure these pieces up and get them cut. All right, there you go, YouTube. Got my pieces cut. Even though we're working on the left side, because the way the plans are always written is that, especially on the wing, they only show you the plans for the left side. The right side is a mirror of the left side, just the other side. So what I do is, even though I'm working on the left side, I go ahead and cut my parts. Now, let's talk about parts and cutting. Chop saw is a really good tool for cutting the bigger pieces and everything. What I typically do when I'm cutting them on a chop saw, I leave them in this position. I don't put them like this and cut through them. I usually cut through the spine like this, and that seems to work. If you do this, there's a possibility, and I have had it happen, where the saw will catch the piece and rip it out. But if you keep your chop saw in this position, it will work. The other thing is get yourself a metal cutting blade. I prefer the Diablo. It's just a really great blade. That works for that. Now, when you start getting into this flatter material and thinner material, I do not recommend a chop saw. What will happen, especially when you're cutting smaller pieces like this, the way the teeth on the chop saw, I will fill this gap and it will literally grab this piece and throw it. Okay, very dangerous. You should always have eye protection on. I wear safety glasses, full safety glasses. You guys have seen them before and everything. So make sure you have your safety glasses on anyways whenever you're cutting metal. You don't want to get aluminum in your eye because they can't take a magnet. They actually have to go in and dig it out. Not fun. Had it happen years and years and years and years ago. So yeah, wear your safety glasses, but do not try to cut this with your chop saw. You will throw the piece and it comes out of there at a very high velocity and it will hurt you. So use your bandsaw. So these pieces have been cut with a bandsaw. These have been done. So now what I got to do is mark them up according to the plans here. I'm going to leave the bluing on there because then that way it doesn't really matter. But to me, I think it will aid in the visual. So I'll get these marked up and according to the plans. All right, so I want to show you guys something. So this is the bluing that I use, Dykem layout line bluing. This is what I did with the Sharpie. See that line? And that works. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a little smudgy and everything. But look at the Dykem. See how precise that line can be? They tell you go with what. Now I use a glass cutter or a diamond tip glass cutter to make my lines. I just, I try to use a Sharpie, and it's okay. It works. It will work. But see how smudgy it gets? See how clean that is in the Dykem? And this stuff just wipes off too with acetone. It's no big deal. So yeah, yeah, I'm gonna stay with, what they tell you, stay with what you know works. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna stay with what I know works. Now, the only downside to Dykem is that if you're not careful, you'll look like a Smurf when you're done. But yeah, you gotta let it dry. It takes about 5 minutes, three to 5 minutes or whatever for it to fully dry before you can mark up on it. That's, if you want to call that a downside. So yep, gotta let it dry, and then I gotta get these parts laid out, and then while I'm doing that, I'll go ahead and grab this part right here. Well, hello YouTube, I'm back. So there's a right and a left, and then there's what they call this torque bearing right here that goes in between here. Well, guess what? I ain't got it, and something tells me, I don't have my parts list, but something tells me this is probably back ordered, because I am very diligent at separating my parts and putting them into the bin, and if they're not here where they're supposed to be, then that means that they're on back order. And unfortunately, I don't have my inventory sheet with me. It's back at the house, so I guess this would be a good stopping point for today. And I got to go grab that inventory sheet and then call Vans, see when I'm going to get the part. So I am doing the right and left wing kit, so make sure that you get the right and left. And the way that you know is you have a right, a part A, and a part B left, and a part A and a part B right. And so these are the two pieces with the spacer. So got to just call it a day. Been here, got my 3-4 hours in, and I guess we'll just call it a night. I gotta go find those parts.